said a key word in there. Did anybody pick up on Robert's key word that he said? When he was talking about that bold law, he said a key word.
Achieve.
Good word. There's another
Is it
word.
consistent?
Nope.
Discipline.
Thank you. Disciplined. Absolutely. Disciplined. See, that's what this whole bold law is about. Success is simple because it's a process. You just follow the process. The problem is the majority of y'all, and you're going to figure this out today when we're talking about the discs, you're those shiny object people. Oh, that looks like fun. I'm going to go do that. Oh, that looks like fun. I'm going to go do that. Oh, that looks like fun. I'm going to go do that. And we're going to be like, come back to this. Success is simple, right? There's a process. You have 5 jobs. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. You have 5 jobs. You do those 5 jobs over and over and over and over. Gary Keller will tell you, if you're doing this job correctly, it's probably a little boring. Think about that for a second, right? Y'all aren't looking for boring, are you? You're looking for excitement. So you're like, where's the shiny object? What's fun? Oh, let's go do something else. It's the people that will sit there and do the same thing over and over and over again that are disciplined that will find the success. You might want to check out your grit factor. How gritty are you? Because gritty people will do the same thing. You can be smart, don't mean you're going to be successful in this business. Be gritty. This is a gritty business. Thank you, Robert. That is an awesome one. Love it. All right, Candace.
For me, I chose fear over faith. Well, fear over faith, you choose. I'm trying to get stronger in my faith, and I have a lot of fear going into this. Fear of the unknown. So, yeah, I'm gonna buckle down and choose faith, I guess. So, just to be more successful and try to push forward.
I love that. So do you know what faith is?
Yeah, I do. And something I'm trying to work on and strengthen recently. So I'm hoping it'll help apply here.
So do you know what bravery is, Candace?
Yeah, I do. And I'm not one. I'm a overthinker, and I kind of like hold myself back. So there's more than one that I chose, but that's just, change your thinking, change your world. That's the other one that, was calling out to me, because I really have to reset my mindset. So I'm hoping taking this class will help with that.
I love that. So I want to talk to you guys real quick on that one. Fear or faith is it's your choice, right? But here's the thing I want you to understand. Brave people do not have an absence of fear. Brave people walk through the fear anyway. Be very clear on that, because I think what a lot of people do is wait for the fear to go away. It doesn't ever go away. I still have fear. I go into Leslie's presentation, I'm still nervous. It's all good. This is a good thing. You want to have a little fear, right? Because that's what makes you realize you're alive. So don't be afraid of the fear, and understand that it's not going to go away. And that's okay. Right? You're going to be alive, and you're going to be living, and you're going to be out there doing it and making it happen. So awesome one. Thank you, Candace. That's a good one. Anastasia, which one did you choose?
There you go. Unmuted myself. Hey, everybody. So mine is change your thinking, change your world. And that's, I've won challenges. I'm a former business owner, and I listen to Tony Robbins, and I've picked up over the years that for any problem, there's at least multiple solutions. I mean, there's always a solution. So if somebody's complaining, it's just, or if I'm in a fight or something like that, there's always, with like a loved one, there's always, if you shift your perspective, or if you're disappointed in yourself, or if you have a goal, if you just shift your perspective, like, oh, I get to do this instead of I have to do this, as an example, that's just really powerful.
I love that. Change your thinking, change your world. So notice it doesn't say change your thinking, change your results. It says change your thinking, change your world. A lot more powerful, right? I mean, that's a big, big aha for me. I'm very big on what are my limiting beliefs, because limiting beliefs is my thinking, right? What do I limit myself in, and how can I expand on that? So beautiful. Love that, Anastasia. Thank you. All right, Bill, which one did you choose?
I went with be, do, achieve.
Yes.
Partly because I broke it down as to the B is to be the agent that I want to work with in the future. I've worked with some bad agents in the past when I was looking for homes, and I don't want to be that agent. Basically is to do what it takes to be successful, but always remember that there are ethics and guidelines I need to follow. So it's not a do at all costs, it's do what I need to do. And then achieve is to achieve my goals by staying focused on what I'm trying to achieve.
Love it. That's such a great one. Bill, is it okay if I make a slight caveat to that bold law for you?
Sure.
It's be do, 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 achieve. Be do,
Oh, yeah.
be do, 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 achieve.
Yep.
Understand that, because sometimes we're like, I be it, right? I'll be the person I gotta be. I'll be the agent I gotta be. I do the actions, I don't achieve. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, you guys. You're gonna be, you're gonna do, you're gonna be, do, be, do, be, do, and then you're gonna achieve, right? It takes a while. That loop takes a while. So just know that and be okay with that, because I think it's the breakdowns that are caused by the expectation of the achieve that, and trust me, all been there. Breakdowns, they're real. It's okay. Breakdown to breakthrough. It's all good. That's because we expect the achieve quicker than it's ready to roll out. So just know that. Love that one, Bill. Thank you. Catherine, which one did you choose?
Life by design, not by default.
Yes.
And I
Tell me
think
why.
there's so many things changes this past 2 years. And personally, I have some physical changes to my life. And rather than sitting there, I said, oh my God, this is so terrible. I cannot do this and that. Or, I'm sure other people have some issue, loss of jobs and other physical impairments and stuff. But that's how I start to go into real estate, just because I feel like, you know what, life is what you make of it. Life is what you desire or want it to be, not by sitting there, waiting for the default result. And I think, and this may also apply to when you talk to clients about real estate too, like where they want to be, what they want about their house, or if they were for sellers, you can kind of set, what you want to do. Are you going to move out? So it's little things. To me, it's like what you desire your life to be, rather than sitting there and complaining or said, oh, that's just how it is by default.
Love it. That's one of my favorite bold laws. Life by design, not by default. By the way, bold is a class that stands for, does anybody know? That would be so cool if one of you know what bold stands for. No? Don't we have some bold people in here that went to bold? Okay, bold stands for Business Objectives, a Life by Design. That's what bold actually stands for. It's an acronym. And Catherine, I'm going to give you guys the secret, if you're listening, to the biggest impact on how to create a life by design, not by default. The single biggest impact will be your calendar and what you choose to do with your time. That's your biggest impact. We all got 24 hours. Right?
What was
We all got. Who's going to speak?
What was the O again?
Objectives. Business objectives of life by design. So we all have 24 hours in a day. I guarantee you, Elon Musk spends his 24 hours differently than we do. I guarantee it. I don't know what he does, but I guarantee he spends it differently than we do. That's just the reality, right? So what you choose to do with your time and your calendar will be the biggest impact on whether you're defaulting your life or you're designing your life. So I love that. Thank you, Catherine. Beautiful. Such a good one. All right, Julie, let's finish it off with you. Which one did you choose?
I wrote that you get what you deserve in your imagination. This one really appealed to me because I feel like in my life, I've kind of realized that pretty much whatever I tell myself that I can do, I can. And I'm a firm believer in manifesting, just in terms of, kind of like self-fulfilling prophecy. But when I got into this industry, I just got licensed in October, and I, was talking about my goals and things to family and friends, and, I had a lot of discouraging, remarks saying that's not really possible. And, it's really ambitious. You should probably set your goals more realistically. And it kind of in the very beginning, for the first time, like in my adult life, kind of like made me start to question myself. And then through kind of our Monday morning jump starts and, coaching sessions and everything, I realized that was BS. So I ended up kind of starting to try to imagine what I deserve and what I can achieve. And I actually found that made a really huge impact on my motivation, my ability to actually do those daily tasks that I need to do and everything like that. So that's why I chose that bold law.
I love it. I think that you get what you deserve in your imagination is one of the funnest bold laws. And I think what we as adults do is forget how to dream. And yes, can anybody else relate to got dream squashers around you? When you're like, here's what I want to do. And they're like, can't do that. Can't do that. Yeah, that is, don't listen to them. Find people that will support you and share your dreams with them, because you deserve what you can dream. And I will always say about goals, if your goal feels too heavy, all I'm going to say is you just might not have the right timing. But there's nothing wrong with the goal. Make it big. And what's interesting is when you dream and you do the imagining, things start to happen when you then apply, right? So that goes back to the success is simple, not easy. You just keep doing the activities and you get really deep into your business. And then suddenly you look up and you're like, check that goal out. Check. I just did it. Because you're so focused on what you're doing and sticking to the plan. And you keep that goal in front of you somewhere. So it drives you on those days you don't want to do what you want to do. Accountability buddies are great for that, by the way. Right? How many of you, if you said to a friend, I'll meet you at the gym at 9, you're like 90% more likely to show up at the gym? Yeah, I'm like, somebody's waiting for me. If nobody's waiting for me, I'm like, oh, it's kind of cozy in bed. Maybe I won't go to the gym today, right? It's very easy to give up on ourselves. But if we have somebody who's our accountability buddy who says, you can make this happen, that's important, right? Just remember that. Have those people in your world. And if you have a world that surrounds you with people who are naysayers, you don't have to get rid of them. Just don't share with them. Share with the people that will support you. And by the way, if you can't find the people that will support you, there's something called a private message in here. Private message somebody. Hey, I liked your comment. Let's go have coffee, right? Like get to know people in here because these are your dreamers. We breed dreamers at Keller Williams, that is for sure. Awesome job, you guys. As you can tell, I love my bold laws. Get a little excited about my bold laws. They're so much fun. Okay, private message me. I love to be a hype man. Nice, Ciara. Thank you. I love that. Okay, so let's get started on the rest of day one. I'm going to share with you guys what we got in here so we can look at these. All right, so we're gonna first look at, and this is at the very front. And yes, this is sideways, you guys. I'm sorry. So these are the 5 roles of a real estate agent. Those are in your notebook. So somebody read me the 5 roles of a real estate agent. What are your 5 jobs?
Lead generation, lead follow-up, go on appointments, write contracts, scripts / role play.
Absolutely. So let's talk about those. I want to make sure you guys understand what those mean. So what does lead generation mean?
Use your contacts that you already have. And
Great
reach out
way to,
people.
yeah, great way to do it, because why would we want to reach out to the contacts we already have?
Because they know people and they might need a home or to sell a home, or I mean, they also know a lot of people that they can connect you with if you're a good fit.
Yes, and also Anastasia, guess what? They know you, like you, and trust you.
They know you. Yeah.
You have a relationship. Why not reach out to the people you have a relationship with? By the way, your conversion rate is massive compared to you use your what we call SOI or sphere of influence, the people that already know you, like you, and trust you. You're gonna have a much better result than if you go out and start talking to total strangers or you start farming, right? Conversion rate is way higher on your sphere. They already know you. Okay, so lead generation is going out there. I call it mining for gold, right? We're looking for people who say, I'm interested, or I know somebody who's interested. That's what we're looking for. We're mining for gold. That's our lead generation. By the way, spoiler alert for any of you who got your real estate license and thought you were going to get your license, and then every single person you knew was just going to walk up to you and be like, oh, you have a license. Will you help me buy a house? It's not going to happen that way. Just telling you, sorry, total spoiler alert there. You got to go out and find them, and you got to remind people of what you do because they'll forget. By the way, in a contribution way, not in an annoying way. Don't be annoying, right? All right, lead generation. What is lead follow-up? Somebody tell me what lead follow-up is.
Staying in communication with them.
Absolutely. Somebody says, I'm interested, right? So you panned for gold, you pulled out a piece of gold, then you got to shine it up. You got to pull it out of the pocket, and we got to shine it up, right? We're going to follow up with those people. We're going to send them what they need. We're going to make sure we stay in communication. Do you know what happens with a lead that's not followed up that tells you they're interested?
They find another agent.
They work with someone else. Yes, Amanda. And that is the worst. I want for some of you to learn from this right here and right now. If you do not follow up, they will use another agent, right? If you forget about them, they will use another agent. And until it happens, we get a little lax in our follow-up sometimes. Don't do that. Anne, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, I did. I wanted to just comment on lead follow-up. I ended up getting a listing, and an agent came with her client, and she looked so puzzled, and she just kept looking around. She left with her client and came back an hour later and said, "Oh my gosh, I sold these people this house." And she was shocked. She had forgot that was a home that she sold to them 4 years ago. So it happens. It happens.
And I think the statistic from NAR is something like 79% of clients would reuse their real estate agent, but they can't remember their name. Think about that for a second. It's 5 years later. I don't know. She was really nice. What was her name? I can't remember. Okay, I'll just find somebody else. That is so sad. So whose fault is that?
Agent.
The agent. You have to own the responsibility, you guys. If you don't follow up, it's your fault. Sucks, painful, expensive lesson. But that's the reality. Yes, thanks for sharing that, Anne, because it happens. It absolutely happens. If we do not stay in touch, they're going to go with someone else. All right, what does number 3 mean? Go on appointments. What does that mean?
Set appointments for listing and buyer consultations.
Absolutely, yes. Meet with potential buyers or sellers, such as a buyer's consultation or a listing appointment. By the way, when you track your appointments, I want you to think the fresh people, right? So I sometimes will be tracking my appointments with my existing agents, and they'll go, well, I'm going to go show this buyer a house. You already did your buyer consult. That's your appointment, right? Because when we break down into our GPS and how many appointments needed, that's going to be the first, either the listing appointment or the buyer's consultation. Not, I'm going to show the same person 10 different houses. That doesn't count. Just remember that, right? When we do our conversions, when we're doing our business planning. All right, write contracts. What does that mean?
Submit a contract for a purchase offer.
Okay, so I want you to think about write contracts. Absolutely, purchase contracts. But what other contracts do we write?
A listing agreement.
Listing agreement. What else?
Representative buyer.
Buyer rep agreement. Yes, 100%. By the way, our buyer rep agreements ironclad? No. But I want you to remember that 2 things start to happen. Number 1, the client thinks they're tied to you for like ever. I have people who are like, oh yeah, I signed a buyer rep with you 5 years ago. I'm like, that's like expired in like 18 months. They don't care. I'm their agent as far as they're concerned. Number 2, it gets people signing on the dotted line. Do you think it's easier to sign a purchase contract after you've signed a buyer rep agreement? You're already in it, right? It's that barrier to entry. Use your buyer rep agreements. They will help you. What is scripts and role play?
Practicing typical talking points, probably.
Absolutely. How much do professional football players make?
Too much.
Much.
Too much. Here's my question for you. If they didn't show up to practice and they just went out to the game and played the way they played without practicing, would they make as much money?
Probably not.
Probably not. Then why do y'all do it? Y'all just walk out there and start talking to people without knowing what you're going to say or knowing how to counter their objections or knowing how to professionally do your job. Stop it. I'm going to tell you right now, if you practice your scripts, you will be better than 90% of the agents on your island. I don't care what island you're on. Agents don't practice their scripts. You get good at this, you will make money. Bill, yes.
So do you need to create your own script? Are there bullet
gosh,
points for scripts that are
Love
already
that
set?
question, Bill. You are. I love that question. Thank you for asking that. We are going to be talking about scripts on Thursday. You guys have an entire elemental script book.
Yeah.
So
I
if
read
anybody
through
want
the
to
whole
look,
book. I read through the whole book actually.
did you really?
Last night, and there's a lot of scripts.
So
Some
many
I'm not
scripts.
sure. Some of I'm not sure if I could dare to say because it seems a little confrontational to the client. But you know, we'll talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not. There's no way we're telling you know every one of these scripts and say every one of these things. Some of them have different options and different point. You know, it's like you could say this, or you could say this, or you could say this, or you could say a combination, right? You kind of come up with the ones you really like. Some of them are going to be like, that is the one. I love that. I'm going to use that all the time, right? Now, that's the script book. We're also going to teach you some things like LP Mama. So LPMAMA, LP Mama. See, what's going to happen is some of you are really new. So someone's going to say, hey, I'm interested in buying a house. And you're going to go, I'm so excited, but I have no clue what to say. What do I say? And then you're going to call your coach and be like, what do I say? Location. Well, what location are you interested? Price. What price range are you thinking? Right? Motivation. Is this something you're looking at doing right now, or is this something in the future? Agent. Are you working with any other agents on the island? By the way, that's the way I phrased that question. Are you working with any other agents on the island? Got news for you. I'm licensed in the state of Hawaii. I'm not selling something on Oahu. I'm not selling something on the Big Island. I don't know the markets. I'm gonna stay in my lane. To serve the client, I'm gonna refer that to somebody on one of the islands. Stay in your lane. Now, if you grew up on the other island, go for it. You know the market, but I don't know the markets. Been to Big Island twice, been to Oahu 4 times. I don't know the Oahu market. I'm not gonna go sell a Waikiki condo. I don't know what's going on over there, right? So I will always ask, have you been working with a local Maui agent? Because I'm a Maui, right? M, the second M, mortgage. By the way you want to say that is, would you be obtaining a mortgage or would you be paying cash? Because if you say, have you been approved for a mortgage and they are a cash buyer, they may assume you don't work with cash buyers. And do you all work with cash buyers? Oh yeah, we certainly do, right? The last A is the most important one. It is number 3 on this list. What is the last A?
Set up an appointment.
Appointment, yes. Great, let's get together and talk about this. All right, that's how that works. So we are gonna have some scripts like that as well for you, Bill, where they're just letters to follow along in conversation. So we will have both. So great question. And yeah, we're gonna go deep into scripts on Thursday. I love scripts, you guys. They're just, they help so much. I mean, I can tell you when I'm talking to an agent who has no idea of the scripts, it's faulty and confusing, and they don't seem like they have confidence. When they know their scripts, they're confident, right? You want to practice these things. By the way, we have script practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30. I'm sorry, 8 to 8:30, right? 30 minutes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You guys are all welcome to join that starting next week. We're going to ask that you join that because we want you to start getting in there and practicing scripts. All right. Scripts and role play, super important. Okay, last sheet I want to show you guys is what we call your first 100 days. So I want to get real clear that this is something you're going to go through with your coach. There are items you can do before Ignite. So you've now started Ignite, so don't worry about those items as much as the during Ignite items. Notice, what is the very first item on the during Ignite? Bill, share with us. What does it say under during Ignite? The first one.
Memorize and demonstrate competence in LP Mama.
I already gave it to you. Hopefully y'all took some notes. By the way, that's also on the Google Drive. All right. So only after license activation. So some of you actually don't have your physical license from the DCCA yet. So you're here, you're learning, and you're awaiting your license. So after your license is activated, these are the things that you can do. So your 100 days is really a sheet for you to get an idea of what's going on, how am I doing, and do some check off. So I would say read through this for your homework and see where you guys are. What have you completed and what are things that are missing? By the way, even if you're experienced or you're like Raiden, you've been here a few times, go through it anyway. You might be surprised. You'd be like, you know what, I never did that, right? So let's get those pieces completed. All right, awesome. Any questions about those sheets? Okay. Great basic framework to use. Yes, Carrie, it is. That's exactly why we do it. We're also going to be talking about Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, right? Conversations. The more you ask people about themselves versus you, the more you're giving back, right? All right, so we talked about the 5 jobs of a real estate agent. I want to talk about the Wednesdays in Ignite. So Wednesdays, if you notice, it's just 1 hour. It's from 9 to 10. We call that our coach's corner. You are not required to come to Wednesday. Wednesday is great for if you have an extra question. Or let's say we were in buyer's week and you were like, I got that purchase contract, but I need some clarity on this signing thing. And I just need a little extra help. We'll come to Wednesday. There's going to be a coach in there. We come in at 9. If nobody shows up, we'll leave at 9:30. If somebody shows up, we'll stay. Okay, we'll stay till 10. So that's kind of your like extra study hour. Just call it that, right? And we're here to help. Make sense? Awesome. All right, you guys. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between a part-time and a full-time agent. So how many of you are considering your business to be full-time, which I would call 30 hours a week or more committed to real estate? Okay, so pretty good amount. All right. How many of you are going to be doing real estate less than 30 hours part-time at this point? Okay, so we got a couple part-timers. And of you part-timers, are you guys considering transitioning full-time into real estate, or is it just, I want to keep it on the side? Jordan says yes.
I plan on transitioning full-time, but I still have bills to pay and a family to support. So I'm still doing my
100%.
corporate job.
Yes, I am not the coach that will say, dive off the cliff, then that'll show up. I'm like, you know who says that? The people that don't have to pay your bills. It's not my style, guys. Keep the lights on, keep yourself fed. Super important piece. Awesome. Yeah, Bill, love that. Okay. All right. Are we able to listen in on Wednesday? Yeah, you guys can absolutely show up on Wednesday. I mean, we're coaches, like we're always open to talk, right? We're always open to have a chat about something. So absolutely, you guys can definitely show up. Okay, so I just want to keep you guys to keep in mind, I consider anything over 30 hours to be full-time real estate. I will get the question asked quite often, and let me see if any of you have this question. Are any of you wondering if you can make $100,000 working 30 hours a week in real estate? Anybody curious if you could do that?
It'd be nice, but I wouldn't expect it.
Okay. So here's what I will tell you. All depends on what you do with those 30 hours. You spend those 30 hours making sure your farming poster looks nice and is ready to go out, you're not gonna make $100,000. You spend those 30 hours lead generating and talking to people about real estate and being out there and being on the phone, you can make $100,000. It's all what you do with your time. So for those of you that are part-time, I want you to really dive in with your coach about what's the most important things to prioritize on your day, because it's going to make a difference. Okay. All right. I want to talk a little bit about what we expect from you guys in the next 6 weeks. So some of you read the notebook. I love that. Some of you are like, I'm going through this whole thing. Tells me something about your personality, but I love that. Okay, what is expected of you in the next 6 weeks? All right, somebody read me the first 3 items.
Show up and be ready to begin at the start time. Bring your notebook to every class. Bring a pen, highlighter, your phone, and a computer to every class.
Yes. By the way, we use this sheet when we're in person too, but it works for this as well. All right, somebody read me 4, 5, and 6.
Participate.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Participate at a high level. How you show up here is how you show up everywhere. Complete all homework assignments and turn in on time. Ask questions if you don't understand.
And what does the last part of that one say? Ask questions if you don't understand. What is it?
Clarity is power.
Oh, that's a bold law. By the way, that was my bold law for 2020, the whole year. And I held on to that. I was like, clarity is power. I want you guys to understand this is your class, right? So if you're thinking you have a question, there's probably somebody else in the room with the question. So please ask it, right? This is your class. If we get too derailed, we might tell you guys, hey, bring that to Wednesday's Coach's Corner, because there's a lot of questions in this business, but we want you to have clarity. Clarity is power. Please understand that, super important. So if you don't understand, there's probably somebody else who doesn't understand. Can we all agree this is the place to be vulnerable?
Sure.
Yeah, this is like Vegas, except for we record it and put it out there for everybody to see. So it's not at all like Vegas, but we just say it is. But this is the place you want to be vulnerable. Ask it in here so you don't have to ask it when you're out there working with clients, right? All right. And 7 through 9. Who was reading before? Who started reading when Candace started reading?
Alan, did you want to take this one?
Alan,
All right.
take it.
Or I'll do the next one or whatever.
All right, cool. Number 7. If you miss a class, watch the recording in the Maui and productivity coaching clients folder in your shared Google Drive. Look in class materials, July 2021 Ignite. You will find all the resource material and recording links here.
So Nicole made a mistake. What is that supposed to say? Not July 2021, but 2022, right? Yeah,
January
first change that one.
2022.
Sorry, guys. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. All right, number 8.
Number 8, understand that there are no stupid questions. Number
Yes.
9, schedule one appointment with an able, ready, and willing buyer or seller in the next 30 days.
Awesome. Okay, so
And-
number 7, like we talked about, it's 2022. I apologize. I think you guys are okay. You can figure out that it's 2022 folder. All right, understand that there are no stupid questions. I get this all the time. I have a question, it's probably stupid. And I have yet to have any of those questions be stupid. So please, again, ask the questions. Your job is to schedule one appointment. Now, what did I say there? What kind of buyer or seller are we looking for?
Ready and willing.
Yes, but the first word is what?
Able.
Able.
Yes. Now, have you guys ever heard the term, oh, I want a ready, willing, and able buyer? I want you to stop saying ready, willing, and able. And I want you to start saying able, ready, and willing. Because I guarantee you I can go out and touch 1,000 people and 900 of them are gonna be ready and willing. But are they able is the question, right? Able is the most important thing. So how do we know if a buyer is able?
Pre-qualified for a mortgage.
Absolutely, Bill. Pre-qualified for a mortgage or has the cash to buy. By the way, how many of you are like, I'm totally comfortable asking for somebody who wants to buy a $1.5 million property to show me proof of funds? Okay. How many of you are like, that does not make me comfortable at all? I understand that. And guess who they're going to have to show those proof of funds to? The seller. So they may as well just do it right from the beginning, right? Let's get your paperwork in order. Right? Okay. That's how we know they're able. Ready? Okay. This used to be much more given in a different market. Ready and willing. Now I want you to think about this for a second. Remember we talked about the buyer's presentation? So if a buyer says, I'm totally ready and willing. Okay. Are you ready to write 10 offers and lose 10 properties before we can find the property that's right for you? Ask in the beginning. Because number 1, then when you get it accepted on number 5 or 6, they're going to think you're amazing, right? Because you didn't take 10. And you can go back to that. You've got to let people know that this is the market we're in. It can take some time. Okay. So schedule one appointment with an able, ready, and willing buyer or seller in the next 30 days. That's your job. Your last job, number 10, I'm going to read this one. Have fun. Right? We're here to have fun. If it's not fun, what's the point, you guys? All right, so let's talk a little bit about your resources and your job aids. So this is just going to show you where to get to everything. So command is at theagent.kw.com. Notice right here, access it, what the contents are, what the description is. Ideas.kw.com is ideas.kw.com. KW support is mail to support at kw.com. KW Connect is the kwconnect.com page. The My KW, where you get your intranet, is mykw.kw.com. So if you haven't checked some of these out, just go through and check them out, okay? These are your resources and job aids. Now, we also have supplied you a sheet called My Resources. For example, you might want to put Maui and BI productivity coaching folder, right? How do I get there? What do I find there, right? This is where my recordings are. This is where, whatever it is, whatever resources you have, use this sheet to write your resources down. Also might want to write your like passwords on these sheets, because if you don't have a password page, you're going to go change your computer and it's going to be a problem. So always write your passwords down somewhere, you guys. All right, let's talk about Kellerisms. So you guys are going to attend a meeting and be like, somebody just said 411 and I don't know what a 411 is. So someone tell me what a 411 is. Somebody tell me.
I think it's like your goals that you have planned out, and then how you're gonna get there, how you're gonna achieve it, like your business plan and stuff.
I like that. Is that you, Samson?
Yeah, that's me. Sorry.
Okay, so that's okay, but you could just read on the page.
Oh, the 411 is a productivity tool that drives your goal setting from the desired end results to the present. 411 stands for 4 weeks, 1 month, and 1 year. But you must first set the yearly goals and then detail monthly and weekly goals. It is not a to-do list, it's a have-to-do list.
Yes, there you go. See, so if you guys are like, wait, somebody said something, I don't know what it means. Go back to this. What's a capper? Somebody tell me what a capper is.
An
Okay,
8
it's
million or more.
Okay, somebody said 8 million or more. Okay, who else was gonna?
I was about to read off the page.
Yep, go for it.
An individual who produces sufficient GCI and contributes enough company dollars to the market center to satisfy his or her annual commission cap requirement. After capping, the individual keeps all commission income.
Yes, do you guys know we're a capping company? So at some point you hit a point and you go, oh, I just get to keep my commissions from now on. So what if you're looking at this and you're like, but what is GCI? I don't know what GCI stands for. What does GCI stand for? Wait, I know it's here somewhere. Hold on. I read it earlier. Somebody knew. There it is right there. What is it?
The gross commission income?
Yes, the total amount of commission dollars the market center receives from a transaction. That's your gross commission income, right? The total. So I want you guys to have this so that you can look through this. The only one, other one I want to make sure we read is DISC. So what is DISC? D-I-S-C, because we're going to be doing these later. Somebody read that one to me.
A written personality profiling system that assesses aggression, response to challenge, influence, persuasion, activities, responsibilities, and rule regulation. The system then describes an individual's personality in terms of D, dominant driver, I, influencing, inspiring, S, stable, steady, and C, compliant, correct.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to be going over that later today. I would suggest you guys check out these terms. Those are some of the pop terms that you're going to hear a lot. But yeah, if you ever hear something and you're like, what does that mean? You can check it out on your Kellerisms sheet. It's like you guys are learning a whole new language along with learning how to do a whole new business, right? We do that to you. All right, so I want to talk for a second about the marketing compliance guide. So we always like to talk about this because this is legally, do you guys remember from pre-licensing? Why do we have compliance in our marketing? Can anyone tell me? Who do we want to have clarity?
You want the public to know who you are.
The public to have clarity, exactly. That is why marketing compliance exists, Catherine. It's because we want the public to have clarity. Anything that's going to confuse the public is generally going to not be allowed. So there are 4 basic items needed when you're doing marketing. Your license name, as it appears on your real estate license, your license status, your license number. By the way, just the numbers is actually an incorrect license number. You must include the RS or RB and the dash. This is my old one before I was broker, but RS-80567, the R and the S capitalized and the dash included is the legal way to put your license number. You also need your office name. So this was created for Keller Williams Realty Maui. The Big Island division, people can add Big Island division. And obviously Oahu, you guys have a different name, so you would follow your Keller Williams name. This is an example. Notice it's got my full license name, Nicole A. Burns. It's got my RS number. It's got the realtor. Does anybody know what realtor in this sense means?
You're a member of the Board of Realtors?
You are a member. You're a member of the National Association of Realtors, right? So when you guys say, oh, I'm a realtor, that translates to I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors, right? So it always has to be capitalized and it always needs the registered trademark next to it whenever you use the term realtor. You may use real estate agent and not capitalize it because that is not meaning member. That means you're an agent. But realtor must be capitalized and with the R trademark. And I was a salesperson. Now I'm a broker. So I have a different license number. Mike, I'll make sure we've got everybody that's registered. It might take her a little bit longer to get everybody. So the office address does not have to be listed, but if it must be, this is the Maui address. Big Island agents can add Kona or Hilo. So obviously you guys on Oahu would do this a little bit differently. Now, here's a good practice. We describe the property. We do not describe the occupants or the potential occupants. Why is that?
The discrimination.
HUD violations.
HUD violation.
Absolutely. We do not want a HUD violation. We don't discuss what are the terms. Anybody remember all of them? I'm like, familial status. Yeah, all kinds of different things. Just don't talk about people. Talk about the property and you'll be okay. Smart plans in command must be sent to Michelle if you're on Maui as your principal broker for review, as well as all marketing materials to be placed anywhere public facing. For those of you on Oahu, you're going to talk to Lisa about that. I'm not sure who does your compliance, but Michelle does ours. All right, just want to make sure you guys have that info. Oahu peeps, the address is, there's Carrie, 1347 Kapiolani Boulevard, Suite 300, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96814. So just making sure you guys have the proper info.
Can you hear me, Nicole?
Oh, hi, Miss Lisa.
Hi there.
I hear your voice.
Yeah, we finished Ignite and I jumped on. So for us compliance, just a reminder that your first 3 transactions when you're new have to go through CORE or transaction management. They will take care of working with you for your compliance. Okay. And Carrie is there as an assist as well. And for most of you, if you're in coaching, I'm your BIC. If you are out of coaching, then you'll have a separate BIC.
Okay. And we were talking about marketing compliance.
Oh, sorry. I was
that's
also
okay.
dealing with the drama at the same time. For most of you, it's going to be me.
So, okay, perfect. So it's going to be Lisa that you're going to send it to for marketing compliance. Awesome. Okay. So remember earlier when we talked about the success is simple, not easy. And we talked about the success is created through a great calendar and the life by design. So this is a calendar allocation that you always want to go back to and kind of look at what are you doing in your calendar and how much time are you spending to it? Because here's what we tend to do. We tend to spend a lot of time knowing the market, marketing planning, depending on your personality, business planning. We tend to spend less time on our lead gen and lead follow-up. And we also love classes, right? Don't we love classes? Yes. And at some point your coach is going to say, get out of classes and go talk to people, right? This happens with some of us because we're just like, we can just learn all day, every day. But that is not going to no one in here is going to buy real estate from you guys or sell real estate from you guys. Just know that, right? So just keep that in mind. So this is just something that is really great for new agents. The other part is something that you will find yourself getting really wrapped up in as a new agent is running your transactions. Now, everything takes about 4 times as long the first few times you do it. It's just the reality, and we understand that. We do give you a little bit of a pass for that. That being said, the reason a lot of agents have really up and down businesses is because they get in transactions and then they just spend all their time in the transaction and they forget to do the lead gen and the lead follow-up. And so then they get out of the transaction and they got no business because they didn't do their lead generation. So we're going to help you create a more solid business, and this calendar allocation sheet is just a great sheet to use. So definitely use that and check it out and compare it to your own calendar. By the way, what's the best calendar to use? Anybody know? Any ideas? Somebody tell me. What's the best calendar to use?
When you
Outlook.
use.
Oh yeah, the one you use, but
The one you follow. Absolutely. That being said, I will tell you that if I had to write everything down, my calendar would be very unfunctional for me. So when you're meeting with a lot of clients and you have a lot of things going on, having repeatability within a calendar and making it virtual, it is very beneficial. That being said, I still have a desk calendar with important things on it because I want to have at a glance moments of what's happening, right? So definitely find that balance for you. All right, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to give you guys 15 minutes. Go do whatever you got to do. Bio break, get some coffee, get some water, get something to eat. And we'll come back in 15 minutes and then we're going to talk about your disc. I'm very excited, you guys. And I will look at the chat before I leave. All good, Tori? Cool. Okay. Thank you, Sasha. You're sweet. And I'm going to put a timer up, you guys. So.
Cool.
Yes.
Hi, will you be sending out the Ignite Google Drive?
Who's asking me?
Raiden.
Oh, Raiden, you already have access to Google Drive. You should already have access because you're still in the program, right?
Oh no, I don't have access.
Let me see. Let me look at that. Yeah, we'll make sure we get everybody in there.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure you're in already. Let me see what I've got for you.
Try check it again.
I'll see which email I have for you because that'll make a difference too. Because you have to be in the right email. It's probably what's your @KW email? Did you hear me, Raiden? Raiden, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I have the Raiden 808, nkcona808@gmail.com.
Yes.
Do you want you have access on that?
Yes.
So that one's already there. Do you have another email you want me to give you access to, or that one's good?
No, that should be good.
Okay, so you have access on that.
Okay.
If you just pull up shared with me, you should be able to get the folder and then that should give you everything. And I'll make sure Rory updates everybody else. Coming back. Coming back, coming back.
Is all the classes 9 to 10 except today?
No, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are 9 to noon.
Oh, 9 to noon, okay.
Yeah, those are 3-hour classes. The Wednesday's the only one that's just an hour.
Oh, I see, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
and that's the one that's the coach's corner, so. All right. Okay, so as we get back, remind me if you guys don't, who doesn't have their DISC assessment yet, who hasn't received it yet? Okay, Bruno. Who else?
What if you have it, but you don't
Samson.
agree with it?
We're gonna talk about that. Marie,
That's
was
awesome.
that you, Bill?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. All right, so just the three of you, Bruno, Samson, and Marie. Everybody else has a copy of their DISC. I don't have mine. Kimberly, okay.
I did not receive one and I did it
Okay.
yesterday.
Okay, it might take a little longer than that. Sometimes it's like 48-hour turnaround. Like I said, you guys will be fine because you'll be sitting here going, I think I know that I'm that.
Nicole?
And then we'll see. Yes,
So were any
Lisa.
of those mine that said they didn't get it?
Yes, I think so. Jordan, Kimberly, Marie, Samson, and Bruno.
Bruno's not, I don't think Bruno's me.
Bruno's not you. Is Bruno my Bruno? Where are you from? Which island?
I'm on Maui. I got the test. I just didn't finish it yet.
Oh, got it. Okay,
Yeah,
yes. Bruno's mine.
You're also
Okay.
there and talk to anybody about listings. You can
Anybody
then-
at Oahu or Kauai that took it and I received it, I've forwarded. So if anybody took it and you didn't receive it, unless you took it this morning, but even those, then text me.
Okay, Kimberly, you said you got yours. No, Kimberly Truitt didn't get hers, is what who I think said she didn't get it. We have two
I'll go look.
Kimberlys in
And
here.
you finished it, Kimberly?
Someone said they did it yesterday.
Everybody that did it yesterday that I received finished was sent, unless I made a
Okay.
mistake.
Yes, Lisa, I finished mine.
Okay.
And that's Kimberly?
Kimberly, yes.
Okay, let me go see if it got forwarded.
Thank you.
If
I
you
actually
haven't done
I
yours
haven't
yet,
yeah, I haven't taken mine.
Okay, so you still
Yeah.
need to take it,
So
Samson. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take it today. I've taken one before, so if you guys do go into it, I mean, I've taken one maybe like a few months ago.
this
Yeah,
is
like I
really
said,
different though. But
Oh,
guys will
okay,
get-
okay.
You'll get ideas and be like, that sounds
Okay.
like me.
I'll go ahead and make sure I do it tonight. Sorry, guys.
No worries, no worries. Like I said, you guys will be fine even if you did or didn't. So for those of you who have seen the test, it's like 50 pages, right? It's a long assessment. And I just want you to keep in mind, you answered what, like 10 minutes of questions, right? It was just like answer, and then you got your results. So I always want you to take this with a grain of salt. That being said, we will address that a little bit, but let's go ahead and I'm going to share this with you. Hang on. Okay. All right. So the whole point really of this DISC assessment is learning to communicate at a higher level. That's all this is, right? You know yourself and you know your natural communication style and how you kind of show up in the world. It helps you to understand. Like, have you guys ever met anybody and you're like, what is with that person? I just don't get them on any level whatsoever. It's like they're speaking another language and they just don't connect with you at all. Have you ever met somebody like that and you're just like, this just is like off vibe? Sometimes that can have to do with your DISC profile. You can also have the opposite. Have you ever met somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, this person sees the world the way I see the world and I get this person and they get me, and it's just like this cohesive relationship. Well, that can exist, right? So what I want you guys to understand is this is just about how to communicate at a higher level and understanding how you currently communicate and how you How you show up in the world will help you with that. So as we talked about, this is a tool, it is only a tool. So let's discuss how to deal with areas you disagreed with. So I'm going to ask you if you guys could possibly do one of two things. Number one, you can respectfully disagree with the result and say, that just isn't me. And I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. Okay. So that's number one possibility. Number two possibility is, what if you could say, I don't think it's me, but what if there's some truth in that? Could you maybe challenge yourself to ask that question? Or even take that question a little further and say, if there was some truth in that, what would it look like? So I don't want you to get too up in arms to where you're like, I just want to throw this whole thing out. It's horrible. Learn from it and the pieces that you can learn from, and be okay if parts of it you just are like, it just isn't me. That's okay, right? That's okay. Then maybe at some point you can ask yourself the second question I said. Could it be me a little bit? And if so, how does it show up, right? So that's all I'm asking. Is that fair enough, you guys? We all agree to that? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so I want to talk about the golden rule. Who knows the golden rule? Somebody read me the golden rule.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Okay, do we like the golden rule?
Yes.
Yeah, we do, right? But is there a better rule?
Probably treat people how they
Yes.
want. Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Somebody read that one to me.
Treat others the way they want and need to be treated.
Others, yes, the way they need and want to be treated. So think about that, right? We tend to treat people the way we want to be treated. But if somebody has a different personality and a different view of the world, maybe they want to be treated in a different way. And if we can understand that, doesn't that make us better at what we do?
Definitely. Yeah, it's quite common.
Yeah, we tend to treat others the way we want to be treated. That's our natural, right? We're going to treat others with the same everything that we want, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to treat you this way because that's the way I want to be treated. But that person may not value the same things you value.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
And we're going to talk about those values. All right. So first of all, we have the D style. The D is dominant. Okay. By the way, if you're a female D, welcome to the club. And yes, you've been called some names that are not dominance and are not nice, and own it. It's okay. You are allowed to be what you are, right? You are a fabulous leader, more than likely. You are someone that people give things to when they want them done because you are a doer, right? That is the dominance. Influence. Hello, all you golden-tongued people who think that your beautiful voices and amazing way of speaking can get you out of everything. And you know what? It pretty much can. You guys are amazing. I love the influencers. And in extreme and in absence of other things, you're also a tad scary because you're kind of those people who run like those cults and stuff because you're really good at how you speak. But you're fabulous salespeople, you influencers. Steadiness. Welcome to the table, steadiness. You are what we need in the world to keep the world together. You are the assistants and the nurses and the positions that have to show up all the time. Remember when I said, what was the word? Disciplined. Remember when I said disciplined, you guys, and how important that was in real estate? Guess who's disciplined in this group? Steadiness. They are the steady. They will do the same thing over and over again and be okay with it. So consider that. Conscientious, you are the rule followers. You are also generally quite intelligent. So welcome to the table, my conscientious people. So the question is, what are you? So let's talk a little bit about how do we assess what our assessment says to know who we are. Now, I'm going to share an assessment with you all. The only one I would be comfortable sharing with everybody because I have permission to share it. This is my assessment. So what I'm looking for is the page that has the graph. Now, as you guys will notice on the right-hand bottom side of the page, you guys see the graphs, right? It has your adaptive style and your natural style. But if you get to right around page 25, you're going to find the full graph on one page, which will make it easier to see. So if you're looking at yours and following along, you want to go to the page that has the full graph right there, right? So this is the full graph. Now notice we have an adapted style on the left and a natural style on the right. Any guesses the difference between the adapted style and the natural style? Nobody? You guys are a smart crowd. Somebody's got an idea.
I'm going to guess adapting to your surroundings.
Yeah, adapting, exactly. So think of your natural style as you being 100% you. Just being all you. Hanging out in a very comfortable environment, no influence. Think of your adapted as I'm going to work. I'm showing up in a different environment. So I'm going to adapt certain natural abilities in order to conform to that adaptation and that environment. So that's exactly right. Now, the only thing I want to share with you is if you ever see a drastic difference between your natural and your adapted, it can actually be very stressful on the system. So if you notice, I have a much higher C. In fact, my C jumps to the highest, even though my C is naturally on the lower side, on the natural. So I have a 38 natural C, but my C goes up to a 63. Pop psychology, no basis for this, but my assessment of this is the fact that I am naturally a massively high D, which means I'm bossy and domineering. And so I bring up my conscientious and intelligence level in order to prove that I have a reason to be bossy. Other than pop psychology, you guys, there's no basis for that, but that's kind of what I think is happening is I really bring up that C because if I can be, and C's are like your engineers, very thought process based, very, anybody watch the show The Big Bang Theory? They're all very high C's. Okay, that's a very high C. An engineer or a software person, or not really liking people as much, more liking systems and practices and following the rules. So I definitely think that's why I bring that up. Now, we're going to talk about what you guys are. So when you look at this, we're going to look at your adapted style. So we're looking at the left-hand side. Now, here's how I would read this. I am actually I'm actually a CD. And what that means is my C is a 63, right? So that's the highest one I have is a C. So I'm a C as my number, my first letter, C, and then I'm a D. And the reason the D made it in there is because it's within 10 points of my highest. So I'm a CD. Okay, so if you're first, and some of you are going to have graphs where like your I is like 99 and everything else is down here. That's just going to be high I, right? If you have one that's just higher than everything, you're a high, whatever that is, a high D, a high I, high S, high C. But if you are within a 10-point range of your first and your second, then you would call yourself both of those letters. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want to get a read on the room. So I want to find out what you guys are. Okay. So who has their highest letter as a D? Raise your hand. Yes, raise your virtual hand. I want you guys to all come to the front of the room. So raise your virtual hands if you are a high D.
Mine's pretty up there, but
it's not the highest?
The I is the highest. They're like basically neck.
Okay, so Ciara and Sasha. Ciara, am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right, so Ciara and Sasha are my Ds. Any other Ds in the room? Raiden, are you a D? As your highest?
Yes, I'm talking about the natural style, correct?
No, the adapted style.
I know, I'm a C.
Okay, so you're a C. So Sasha and Ciara, are you guys just high Ds or were you a combination?
I'm DI.
You're a DI. Okay.
DI.
Hi D, hi I. Yeah.
So you were DI, and Ciara, were you a DI as well?
Yes, ma'am, DI.
Nice. Okay, excellent. All right, so who had a high I? Go ahead and raise your virtual hand if you have a high I. Okay, Patricia and Mai, you guys don't have the ability to raise, right? Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah, there should be quite a few in the room. Yep. Hold on, keep your hands up. Hi, Magdalena. I heard your voice earlier.
Hi, Nicole.
Chelsea. I'm writing all your names down because I want to know. Anastasia, Adam, Anne, and Chihiro. Okay. All right. A lot of eyes in the room. Remember when I said eyes, real estate attracts eyes? Eyes are natural salespeople. Yeah, they're awesome. I love you eyes. You guys intrigue me like so much. It's like crazy. I love it. Okay, take your hands down. Awesome job. All right. Okay, now my S's. Do I have any S's in the room? Kimberly, you're an I, right?
Yes.
I'm going to lower your hand. Okay, so my S's in the room. Okay, so Candace, Olivia, Carrie. Chihiro, are you a I or an S? Which one's higher? Or are they the same?
It's almost the same level.
What's the number on each one of them?
Okay. It's like 80. Yeah, higher 77. 82 and 77.
Okay, which
I
one's
is
the
80.
82? 80 is the I?
82 is the S and
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And 77 is the I?
Yeah.
Okay,
Both
so
like almost the same.
yeah, so you're actually an SI. You would say the S first. So you're an SI. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. All right. Thank you, S's. You can lower your hands. And who are my C's in the room? Robert, Alan, Olivia. Okay, so I got Kyle. Any other C's in the room? Okay. Question for you C's. How high is your C? So I'd like your number. And then tell me what's the next one and what the number is on the next one. So I'm going to start with you, Robert. Tell me how high is your C?
I'm a 92, and then the next one would be a, what is this? An S at a 52. We're talking about adaptive, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You're 92C.
Yeah.
What did you used to do before real estate, Robert?
I was in accounting. Well, I was doing administrative work, but doing a lot of accounting.
There you go. Numbers, systems, right? Absolutely. That's awesome. That's great. Okay, Olivia, what's your number? You're muted.
86 for C as well as S, so they're the same.
Oh, okay.
And then D's at 22.
So you're an 86C, 86S. Still
Yes.
very high. What did you do before real estate?
I was a teacher.
Teacher. Nice. Yeah, there's the S, right? Got lots of teachers in there. Wonderful. Thank you, Olivia. Alan, what's your number on the C?
Aloha, everyone. My number on C is 75.
Okay. And your next number is?
It's going to be a 58 for I.
I? Yeah, I kind of figured you would I. 75, 58. Nice. That's what I would have guessed. All right. And Kyle, did you say you were also 92?
Yeah, I'm a 92 for C and S is 55.
And S is 55. Nice. Love that. I was just curious, you guys, how high C's you are, because C's are Like you guys are the smart people in the room.
See,
You
this
guys
is
are
the
the
part-
math
this-
ones. And
This is one of the parts that I disagree with is I've spent the last 25 years in IT in the software industry, and my C's in those tests have always been double what they came back in this test.
Interesting. Did you answer the test the way you naturally would, or did you answer it the way you would as a real estate agent?
As far as I know, I answered it naturally. I mean, there was no trying to slant the test anywhere. So,
What did your numbers come up, Bill?
well, on the adapted and natural, my C came as a 25, and that
What
is
did-
just
What did your DI and S come as?
38 for the D, which is low as well for all the other tests I've taken, 82 for the I, and 64 for the S. So I was really puzzled by the results on this one.
Okay, 38, 82, 64, and what was your C? 25? you said?
25, yeah.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to look at it. Awesome. Thank you, my Cs. You can lower your hands. I appreciate that. So by the amount of people that there were, wait, Raiden, what were you? What did you
I'm
end
a
up being?
high C.
You are C as well. Okay, so what was your
C.
C number?
C for 72,
Okay. And
D
after
for 66.
D for 66?
Yes.
Nice. Don't see that as often. Interesting. Okay, so you can lower your hand. So you guys kind of met a few people, different assessments. We're going to learn a whole lot more about this, but here's my question for you. What do you guys think is the most popular letter when you pool all the people? Don't answer, Lisa. She probably knows.
I.
S.
S.
You mean for real estate or in general?
General
Now,
population.
Do you, let me clarify, do you mean what do we think the most common letter for all of us is, or what the most popular letter of the people is?
Well, popular would be per opinion. So we're going to go common. Most common letter of all the people who've taken these types of assessments, or the average person. What do you guys think they are?
In this field or in just general?
General.
Okay.
General.
By the way, I do see his S or his C showing up.
Right. Yeah. Those would be those questions. Yes. He also asked if we had scripts. I was like, yeah, that's my C. S's. I got a couple I's, but I got mostly S's. The answer is S's. So I think the numbers will surprise you. Real estate, on the other hand, as I said before, draws in I's. Yes. Because I's are great salespeople. There are some things you got to work on, though, because you're not, they're all like, yeah, we know. We're good with it. No, I want you to understand, no one is a letter absent of other things, right? No, everybody has a little bit of everything. So we're going to kind of go through, what does this mean? And how does this sort of play out, I guess, in a sense. Okay, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that you guys were willing to share with me what you were, because I wanted to get a better idea of who we had in the room. And you're gonna find yourselves, this is gonna be very cool, because throughout class, like in 2 weeks, somebody be like, oh yeah, because she's a D, or he's an I, or he's a C. That's what's happening right here. And it's gonna be amazing, because you guys are gonna start to notice. That's why we do this in the beginning. We want you to notice what happens. And you could say, well, I just want to work with people like me. Well, that's great, except for there's a lot of people not like you. And you got to be able to work with them and understand what drives them. So that's where this can be really beneficial. Okay, so we talked about natural versus adaptive. All right, so let's talk about the directness versus openness scale. Okay, so the directness scale versus openness scale is a great determiner for how personality styles will relate to each other. Understanding your own directness and openness will be a huge asset in how you relate to others, and in understanding how you may not naturally relate to others. Okay, so let's talk about this. First, we're going to talk about the D style. So, Miss Ciara, would you please read this to us so we can learn about your D style?
Absolutely, I would love to. The D style prioritizes being direct, thinking think decisive, but will be guarded in communicating about personal matters. This style will actively pursue tackling problems, but will not pursue relationships strongly. These styles have the priority combo of direct, guarded.
So
I think this is definitely me.
So very direct, right? We tend to get very to the point, right? That's just D's. And sometimes other styles can be like, whoa, that's really intense. But we're just direct, right? We're not going to beat around the bush. We want to get it done. Like time wasting, D's are not a fan of wasting time. I will tell you that, right? So if you're a talk story I and you walk into and you've got a D and they don't want to waste time, you got to check your stories because they'll get frustrated, right? They're also guarded. They're not going to open up easily. Now, that being said, because my natural is so high on the D and because D is my second on my adapted, I consider myself a D. I'm proud to be a D. I will also tell you that even though this says, will not pursue relationships strongly, I've been married to the same man for 30 years. It doesn't mean we can't have relationships, you guys. That's not what this is saying by any means. This is just saying when it comes to business, we're very business. Just get it going, right? So direct, but guarded. So you're not going to generally get a D to open up real quickly or easily. Now, all right, let's talk about our I style. So Patricia, would you mind reading our I style so we can learn more about you?
The I style also prioritizes being direct, but in their case, it's directness with people rather than tasks. You'll find I styles provide the energy and fun. In order to do this, they have a more open approach with people. I styles have the priority combo of direct, open.
Yes. I guarantee every one of you has a friend that's an I. They're just the fun people to be around, right? I's are very fun. They're very outgoing. They're all about relationships. They connect people, right? Natural connectors. That's your I style. Thank you, Patricia. All right, our S style. Olivia, would you mind reading our S style to us so we can learn a little more about you?
The S style has an indirect approach to people and situations. In other words, they weigh options before taking any quick actions. Additionally, S styles are open, but it is about being open to learning more about people and situations versus open about themselves. S styles have the priority combo of indirect, guarded.
Indirect, guarded. So I want to talk about this for a second. So let's say you go into a listing presentation and you walk in the door and the person says, hi, nice to see you, and you do, by the way, my script that I use with you guys in the morning, it's 9 a.m. Is it okay if I begin class? Is actually the script you want to use when you walk up to a listing appointment. It's 9 a.m. We had an appointment 9 a.m. May I come in? That's a script. Do you know why you might want to say that? You're pointing out that you're on time.
Yeah.
In a world when people are not on time, your Ds will love it. They hate their time wasted, right? So let's say you go into the listing presentation and you walk in the door and they're like, okay, we're going to sit right here. All right. And they're just like focused. That's a D. Okay. Now, if you walk in and they're like, oh, hi, it's so nice to meet you. Oh, this is my dog. And this is, and this is so-and-so. And they start talking to you and they're like, how's your day going? And they're talking to you like that. And they're just really like the sweetest people. Those are your S's. They care about you, right? They're very like about you and they want you to do well. And they'll sit there and they'll nod the whole time during your listing presentation, even if they don't want to buy what you have to sell. They'll still nod because they want you to think you're doing a good job. I'll go, yeah. Oh no, I don't want to sign. I don't want to list. You're like, what happened? I thought I had them. And they're like, oh no, they just wanted you to think you're doing good. They're the encouragers of the world. They're the teachers. Good job, great job. You're doing fantastic, right? But doesn't mean they're buying in. So just keep that in mind. Your I is going to take you off a trail of conversations left and right. And you're going to have to know how to bring them back in a very awesome way so that they feel like you're hearing them, but they don't feel like you're cutting them off. It's an interesting talent. All right. Now your C, here's how you know you got a C. They're going to grab the paperwork that has the data on it, and they're going to look at it. I used to love it when a C would walk into an open house because they'd literally pick up the stats and sit on the couch. They wouldn't even look at the place. They just sit on the couch with the stats, and then their partner would go look at the place, right? So just keep that in mind when you have your C's. All right, so Robert, would you be willing to read the C styles so we can learn a little more about you?
Sure. The C is prioritizes the indirect approach to people and tasks, preferring to work alone and work the problem until resolution is found, and then interact with others. The C provides the planning, procedures, and prioritization. The C styles have the priority combo of indirect, guarded.
Indirect, guarded. In our markets where we are dealing with a lot of high net worth individuals, do you guys think we might be dealing with a lot of C styles? Yeah, we absolutely are. Doctors, engineers, money people, accountants often have a lot of C in their personality. So we're often dealing with a lot of high net worth individuals. Now, who do you think the C's generally marry? Who do you think their partner is or partner up with?
The S?
The S's and the I's generally. Yeah, generally the S's just by sheer number because there's so many S's in the world. So often we have an S, right? So sometimes you're dealing with a C who's the person with the money. And because of the world we live in, sometimes when we're dealing with older people, the man is the C and the woman is the S. It's just part of our reality. It's shifting, but that we can see that dynamic often. You know, he's the doctor and she's the wife and she's the S. So she's more comfortable sometimes to talk to. C's can literally be kind of awkward. They can also have awkward handshakes. Like I have a child who's a high C and it's interesting. You get an awkward handshake and you're like, wow, I think I have a C. And they are very fascinating and they are absolutely the one in control. So do not ever lose the fact that your C is going to make the decision, even though you may be drawn to your S because they come across as softer and easier to communicate with sometimes. So just be aware your C is still your decision maker. So if you're the kind of personality, like you have a really low level of C, you might show up without much data or stats or information naturally because you sort of don't gravitate toward that. And that is going to throw off that C because they need someone who can communicate to that. So you do have to know your facts and your data, even if you aren't drawn to that, because you will have those C's show up in your world and you've got to be able to talk to them. They have to have a respect for you. Does that make sense? I have a comment. You complete me. Opposites attract. Absolutely. If D's got married, they'd kill each other. Like no joke, they'd kill each other. Like my son and I are both D's. We can't live together. We love each other passionately. He's like one of my favorite people on the planet, but oh, I just want to knock him out. D's cannot. By the way, a D, you never want to mirror and match a D. Every other style mirror and match. So like we're talking about the C's with the stats, show up with the stats, show up with the data, show up with the facts, speak slower. They often are absorbing quickly, but they absorb as you speak. So they generally speak slower. Your I's talk high, they talk faster, higher energy. They're going to want a lot of energy from you. You can mirror and match them. But a D can be confrontational. If you mirror and match a confrontational personality, and this is the secret about D's, they're also the easiest to offend. They're actually usually the most sensitive people in the room, which makes no sense because they come across as dominant, strong, but they're sensitive. So you never want to mirror and match that strength for strength because it'll come across as confrontational. So let's keep that in mind. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the I degree that a person puts on problems and challenges. So I'm sorry, the D. So when you look at your D, whatever your number is, that's the degree that you focus on problems and challenges. D's like problems and challenges. That's why, as I said earlier, it's usually the person you'll take an issue to because they can figure, they're just like, give me the problem, give me the challenge, I got it figured out, right? They're problem solvers for sure, okay? Your I, so whatever I level you have, that's the focus you put on people and contacts, right? I's are, it's all about people. That's why they're the connectors, right? For anybody who's read, is it Tipping Point? That has the, you know, the connectors, that's I's. I's are, they connect people. That's what they do. The S is the degree of focus a person puts on pace and consistency. So like if you guys saw, I have no S. I would move to a different country every 3 years if my husband would let me. Like that, I'm just like a roamer. I don't need pace and consistency. I need new things. When I say shiny objects, you guys, like I'm like, I have literally a shiny object problem. I'm always on the go. I'm always on the move. I always want to do something new and different. I'm married to an S. He breaks me out of my comfort zone and I break him out of his comfort zone. So the degree you put on pace and consistency, S's are steady. Those are your gritty. Those of you that are S, you actually have a very high chance of succeeding at this business because you'll just consistently do what needs to be done. You won't shiny object yourself out of this business. Not everybody falls into that, but that's something just to know. That says you will, your chances in this business are very good because you guys, remember we talked about success is simple, not easy, because you got to stick with the same thing. They have grittiness. S has grittiness. We could learn from the grittiness, right? And then the last one, C, is the degree of focus a person puts on procedures and constraints. So Robert, when you were talking about accounting, right? Accounting is done a certain way, right? It has procedures. You go through procedures, and that's why you're good at it, because you have a high C. You're good at those procedures because you focus on procedures and constraints. So the stronger or more intense a style is, the stronger they are wired to focus on that particular area. So this is where you want to kind of look at what are my other letters falling into, right? And I want you just to be cautious of who are you going to be communicating with, because maybe there's certain things that you've got to kind of adjust. All right, so this, I want to go over some of the jobs because I want you to kind of be able to size up people quickly when you meet them. And you guys will just get better and better at this, especially now that you sort of know who's in the room and what they are. As you're going through class, you guys will learn. So this is a guide, is only a guide. There are people that fall outside these realms, absolutely. But I want to share what these general jobs are. So your D jobs, Sasha, are you available to read the D jobs to us? I know she's got other classes because she's a D. She's in like 5 different places. No, okay.
I can read it.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, D jobs, presidents, CEOs, police officers, lawyers, directors, any other professions to display power.
Yes, power positions, right? That's going to be your D jobs, power positions. So presidents, CEOs, people in charge, right? Leaders. It's definitely a leadership draw when you're talking about your D jobs. All right, now let's talk about the I jobs. Bill, will you read us the I jobs?
Writer, artist, graphic designers, musicians, public relations professionals, and marketing professionals.
Very artistic, but also.
Which I'm not.
And I know, that's why I had you read it. And also marketing, right? How to sell. They're very good at how to sell, but they're very creative as well. So if you need an idea, go find your I person. We love our I's. They're always fun to have at the party, right? All right, S's. Candace, will you read our S jobs? Is Candace still here?
Medicine, therapy, customer service, nurses, any position of assistance.
Yes, they love to assist. They do not want to be in charge. They want to be in the assisting position, right? Therapists, nurses, you're gonna hire your first assistant, your first virtual assistant, they're gonna be an S. S's are awesome for that. All right, and our C jobs. Kyle, would you read our C jobs, please?
Engineer, analyst, scientist, developer, systems administrator, and data scientist.
Nice. Absolutely, yep. So all these we've been talking about. Easier to figure out who these people are. All right, so one of the things that I want you guys to do with your assessment is I want you to go through your assessment and I want you to look at the time wasters. Because remember what we said in the very beginning of class, that it's all about what you do with your time. So I want you to know right from the beginning, which is the time waster that will mostly likely show up for you and how can you guard against it in the future. So I want you to look through all those time wasters and I want you to figure out which one really hits home for you, right? You read it and go, oh my gosh, that's me. All right. Now, I also want to share with you, you guys have 2 sheets in your folder, your binder, at the end of your binder. So these are sort of interesting little sheets. I want to show you just how to read them real quick. So this is your celebrity styles. Notice it's C on the left, D on the right, I, S. So it goes around in a circle, right? D, I, S, and C. So I want you to think about your D styles. They often appear to be in a hurry. They're direct. They say what they think. They may be blunt. They state their own opinions as facts. That is, yes, I'll own it. State their own opinions as facts. They sometimes interrupt others. They may talk to many people at the same time, and they want to know what's the bottom line. And they can be aggressive and demanding. So just remember this when you're dealing with a D style. It's not just because they're mean, they're just a D. All right, I styles, they're open and friendly. They talk a lot. They get easily excited. You buy into them often because they're so excitable. They're animated. They talk about people he, she knows. Now be clear on this. I'm not talking about talk about people he, she knows in a negative way. I'm talking about they're always connecting, right? Oh, you like such and such. You should talk to so-and-so. They love that. You guys would probably be a great connection, right? That's what I mean by talk about people they know. They do not focus much on details. Now, if you don't have some C or some D and you're a high I, you could lack the details. So be very careful in that. And does not focus much on details and does not listen for long. They get kind of distracted, right? They want something else to do. Now your S appears calm, does not get easily excited. They listen carefully. They nod and they go along. They're very easygoing. They ask questions and inquire about the specifics. And they seem to have strong opinions, but they do not express them vocally. Okay. Now I will tell you, if you've ever wronged an S, they can get you back in a way that most other styles would never dream of, which is amazing to me. So there's a story of this woman who she found out her husband did something wrong and he was heading to Vegas. So she canceled all his credit cards. And I was like, and it wasn't even a major thing that he did wrong. It's not like he cheated on her. He did something wrong. And she's like, I'm going to get back to him. She cancels all his credit cards. I'm like, wow, I'm a D. I thought I was mean. That's just cruel. So S's can get you back. So be careful. I have wronged an S client before because they deserve to be wronged. And boy, they can be vicious. So be careful. C styles, they appear reserved and somewhat timid. They're quiet. They focus on the details. They ask many questions. They study the specs and other info carefully. They proceed cautiously. And they don't easily express disagreeing views. They don't like to disagree, right? So this is where we talked about making sure you have your stats handy. Now, here is the count of the population. So this runs through the style, their pace, their priorities. I think the priorities is interesting. So your D's are going to be goal oriented. Your I's are going to be people oriented. S's are relationship, and C are task. What are they motivated by? What are their strengths? What are their growth areas? So like for a D, we can be impatient, insensitive to others, and we can be poor listeners. I's can be inattentive to detail, have a short attention span, and low follow through. S's can be oversensitive, slow to begin, and they can lack a global perspective. The C's, they can be perfectionists, they can be critical, and they can be unresponsive. So like Amanda, when you were talking about wanting to learn and, make sure you create boundaries around your clients, but being new, don't think you have to have it all correct from the beginning, right? This is a learning experience. So don't be careful of the perfectionism. We can all kind of fall into that. So this goes through fears, irritations, under stress, how they may become. Now, do you guys think in a real estate transaction, people get stressed?
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to see the extremes, and these are in the new, or in the Ignite Binder. So you're going to see the extremes of people, right? So know the under stress, how they may become, and don't take it personally. That's our job, right? It's to stay calm in the storm. Don't take it personally. How do they gain security? So if you look at your D's, it's control and leadership. Your I's are recognition and others' approval. So do you have to tell an I that they're doing a good job? Yeah, they need to hear that. It's literally part of who they are. Friendship and cooperation is your S's, right? They need to feel like they're part of it and that you're their friend. And then C's need preparation and thoroughness. So this is also how they measure personal growth and their personal worth. And this is their ideal sporting environment. I think this is so funny because I think this was like a sports assessment, but that rates that. Percentage of the population with a high. So I want to think about this for a second. Who are you going to meet the most of? Well, you guys already said 69% of the population is an S as their highest. Think about that for a second. That's a lot. There's a lot of S's out there. The second one is going to be your C's, and that's 17% of the population. Massive drop in number, right? Your second lowest is 11% of the population. That's going to be your I's. So even though I is only 11% of the population, the majority of people in this room are I's. Every time, happens every time. Because it's a sales position. And only 3, what were you going to say?
I said, that's funny. That's interesting.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah. And only 3% of the population are high D. So not nearly as common. I think that's so interesting. All right. So I want you guys to give me a couple ahas from this and what you learned from this. And we're going to wrap up early.
I wish we could have something like this to give to the client to assess them. So we know how to deal with.
I agree, Catherine. I've always wanted to be like, here's your script. I have mine. I'm ready. And can you take this DISC assessment so I know how to handle you, right? Yes, so true. Well, you get better at reading people, right? It's just like Alan. When Alan said he was a C, I knew he had a good amount of I, because I've had a conversation with Alan. I've sat and talked to Alan. I'm like, he definitely has some I in there because he's not full C. Because you can tell, right? You start to sort of get these better at assessing the personality of who you have. And then sometimes you have somebody who kind of throws you all off because they're sort of all over the board. But we all have mixes and matches of everything. So yeah, I know. I like to have my, I don't know. I mean, hey, make it part of your buyer's presentation and your selling presentation. It's like, can you take this assessment before we meet, please? They're going to be like, what was that for? So I can figure out if you're crazy or not, right? Love that. All right, give me a couple more ahas.
I'm loving this. I think for me, it's helping me to gain confidence. Once I learn my client, then definitely be more confident talking to them and throughout the process. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
Awesome. And just so you guys know, so what's interesting is as you read the scripts, you guys will generally have a certain reaction to scripts. Here's what I want you to understand. The scripts that are written for all different personality styles, but you are not written for all different personality styles. That's why certain scripts you might find objectionable as you read them, but it could just be your style. So you've got to be cautious about how you look at scripts, because those are written by professionals who deal with all different personality styles. So sometimes if we get kind of that, oh my gosh, I would never say that, but then you never know, that might work. That might be what you got to say, right? So think about it that way. But I love that, Candace. Anything that builds confidence, I'm happy about. Awesome. All right, give me a couple more ahas.
When it came up for eyes, it was like musician, marketing, artist, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it was so funny because that's like pretty spot on. Like, I'm an artist and I'm a musician and I'm in marketing and I owned a marketing company. So I always wondered how those two could fit. I was like, how am I into sales and marketing so hardcore, but also into music? I always thought that they were like bridging a gap, but I guess they're kind of on the same side of the road, so to speak.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right.
It's probably like a brain thing, and where the, you know, inspiration comes in, or where the talent comes in, or I don't know. I'm not that in depth of it, but yeah, they're the talents, which is pretty wild. Love that. I'm glad we connected it for you. All right, give me a couple more.
The platinum rule.
The platinum rule, yes. Now do you guys see why that's so important?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe I've been doing that, but just being reminded of it, because sometimes you fall in and out of that. So, you know, that's something that's going to be on the top of my mind all the time when I'm talking to people just out, you know, out and about, not even in a consultation.
Yeah, this helps you. You can do this for family members. That's interesting. I love this in family dynamics, like figuring out what everybody has and why, you know, like I said, I have a son that's a high C and he's our introvert in the family. He's not that introverted. It's just, we're all crazy out there. So he seems introverted, right? But he's my C. And it's been so interesting because I didn't realize what I was doing, but when I raised him, all I had to do was find what he liked and learn about it. And then he wouldn't shut up, right? Like if I read the books he read, and then he could tell me about the books and we could converse about the movies that he liked, and he would not stop talking. It's just had to be his subject, right? Yeah, I had to meet him where he was. And now I go, oh, he's just a C. You know, he's passionate about what he's passionate about, and everything else he just lets go. But he sees everything. He doesn't miss anything. And people think he does because he's quiet. But he's watching everything. So I know you C's. I'm watching you C's. You all paying attention to every detail. I know how it is. Yeah, you guys don't miss much. You just don't need everybody to know you didn't miss it. All right, give me a couple more.
Looking at my results yesterday, I was a bit discouraged because I thought I needed to have a salesperson type of personality to do this job, you know? And I was like, oh, am I in the right position? Am I supposed to be doing this? And then it's kind of like, you know, it's about relationships and building that trust between your clients. And I think listening to you guys speak and how you guys have experiences in the platinum rule, you know, just having that ability to relate to people is important. And I think that characteristic brings a lot to the table, and I shouldn't be so hard on myself.
Good. I'm glad you had that realization, Olivia. I think the world of salespeople is changing. And I would say 100%, my ultimate goal is for the community and the world to realize that real estate agents are actually really great people who want the best for their clients. And that's the personality I want to see in the room. So if that's you, you're in the right place, right? This isn't about, you know, just selling at the cost of everything, because that's not what we're about. We're about doing what's right for everybody. You know, it's win-win. So we can make things happen. And I love the S's. Gary Keller always says teachers make great real estate agents, and they do. Oh, we have a couple of teachers in Maui and they've been very successful because they're just sweet and personable and people like them. And, you know, now I'm a D and I still sell real estate. So I'm not saying other people can't do it either, but it's interesting because we don't attract that type of person into sales, and yet they can do amazing. So good for you. I love that. All right. 1 or 2 more and then I'll let you guys go. This is my favorite part, by the way. I know I said the disc was, I know I said the bulldogs was, but this is really my favorite part. I have a lot of favorite parts.
I think that for me, I just, overall, you know, consultations, buyers consultations that I've been doing and interactions with clients and just people in general so far has been good. But the ones that were just okay, or there was one that just did not go well at all. Like I could tell that this guy hated me, and this kind of, it helps explain why, I guess. So
interesting. What was his style?
It's hard to tell. He was just really not very respectful and was interrupting me constantly. Definitely very dominant, but he was also going through some personal things. I think that also kind of relate to that, but he wasn't somebody that ended up working with as a client after the consultation, but that does help explain it a little bit in my mind. I think he was a bit dominant and maybe my approach was a little bit too dominant. I think somebody who kind of just bowed down to the fact that he really knows everything, and that he didn't want somebody more knowledgeable than him, even though that's my profession. That's kind of,
yeah. It's very interesting. You know, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I know it's an old book, but if you guys haven't checked it out, there's one for the digital age too. I haven't listened to that one, but How to Win Friends and Influence People is a basic tenet of, you may be the smartest person in the room, but don't act like it. Let other people win and let them win all the time. As long as it doesn't cost or hurt anything, why not? Right? And that is not easy for some of you, because some of you have put a label on your smartness of it being your worth. And if you've done that, that can be an issue, right? So, and I've learned that from my husband. Everybody else is smarter than my husband. You meet my husband, he's one of the nicest guys on the planet, and everybody else is smarter than him. They're not. He's actually very intelligent, but he doesn't care. He's like, let people win. They feel good. And everyone loves being around my husband. Me, not as much. Some people like being around me, but not everybody. I can turn people the wrong way, right? Because I'm like, no, that was my idea. Who cares? He's like, who cares? Right? So it's interesting. It's checking the ego at the door, and it's not easy for all of us. So we just have to pay attention to that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for coming today. It was a lot of fun to meet you and have you join us, and hopefully you learned a lot. Tomorrow is going to be your introduction to command class with Rochelle. She's our command master over on the Hilo side of the Big Island. We love her. She's going to take you in there, show you sort of an introduction and maybe some other things, and you guys will have fun. And then I'll see you again on Thursday. And then you guys will have your MLS introduction on Friday. So that's what this week is going to look like. All of you have emails for your coaches. So if you have any questions or concerns or issues, let me know. If any of you don't get your connection by tomorrow into the Google Drive, please just shoot me an email and I'll make sure my VA does that. Yeah, the recordings are all going to be available. So like I said, give us at least 24 hours to get them in there, but they'll be in that Google Drive for you guys. And you can ask Rochelle, she'll show you again in there tomorrow. So awesome. Any other questions, concerns, issues, clarity needed? All right, you guys. Oh, thank you, Ann. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.